Welcome to Satisfactory. My name is Nilaus and this is a new tutorial, and look at this beautiful factory, and this is what we're going to be using as our test case. We have trucks coming in, we have trains coming in, we have apparently Christmas presents being dropped. This is an amazing factory, and every time I have these factories, very often on my YouTube comments or Twitch comments, I get the same question. How do you how do you design these kind of bases? How do you build it? How do you know where to build it, how to build it, how to structure it? And I thought my new crystal oscillator factory, I thought, hey, why not make a structured video about how to build these kind of things so that you can do that as well. I have split this into 8 steps, so we will be going through each of these steps and seeing as the factory that we are seeing here evolves over that time. So if you like this kind of tutorial showcase video, then be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more. If you want to be part of the design process and help make the new designs better, or maybe even get your own colored factory, then come on over to Twitch. I'm streaming Satisfactory Tuesday, Thursdays and Sundays at 8 PM Central European Time, and it's on Twitch TV/Nilaus. Right, let's get started with step number 1. For step number 1, you can start basically anywhere, so I'm going to start back in my hub, and this is where we have to decide what we are actually going to build. Well, that's obviously, in our case, we're going to be using here, we're going to use the crystal oscillator. This is what we want to do, and this is where the first step is choosing which recipes you're actually going to build for building this. So if I look at this, I have 2 recipes for crystal oscillator. I have the one that says quartz crystal cable and reinforced iron plate gives 2 crystal oscillators, or the alternate one that uses AI limiters. In my base, I don't have access to AI limiters. I simply haven't built it yet, so it's not really an option if I want to get crystal oscillators anytime soon. So in this case, I decide I'm not going to use the alternate, I'm going to use the standard one. You can come to whatever decision you want, but this is, for me, my perspective, I want crystal oscillators built right now, and I don't want to bother with building AI limiters first. So I'm going to choose this one. I don't think there's a big difference in terms of efficiency, so I don't mind this. Well, then we sort of have to break it down and say quartz crystals. Well, am I going to use the normal quartz crystal or the alternate? See, I don't bother with dealing with the watery parts here, so we'll just get the quartz crystal in. We also know that we have that already in our train network. The cables, there are lots of different cables. I'm going to choose the basic one because it comes from the wire. I don't like any of the other ones. They are more effective or efficient actually, but they are also way more complicated. So we'll just do the normal cables, and even so, I will even go so far as to say I'm going to use the copper cables instead of the iron wire cables, or copper wire instead of the iron wire. And then the reinforced iron plates, we have lots of those, but this is something we have in the network. So let's move on to step number 2, now that we have decided what recipe we're going to use and all of the alternate recipes that goes into this. Step 2 is dependent on what your factory looks like, and this is why this is not some generic answer, but something that depends on your factory. Now in my factory, I have, as you can see here, quartz crystal is available on trains. It is not put on trains, but I have a train here. So we do know that we can actually get trained in here to get to that location. Then I am going to change this. I also know that I have reinforced iron plate inside my factory. So we'll go to the crystal oscillator and then go for the quartz inbound here. So that means the 3 items I need for my crystal oscillators, I have 1 on trains. I have in this yellow factory, the one with the slanted roof that we are looking at here. I will have reinforced iron plates coming out on trucks. So that means the 2 of the items I already have. So the last item is going to be cable. That means I should build this factory at a location that is accessible for trains, accessible for trucks, and close to a copper location. So if I could scan while I was here, I would be able to find that I would have a copper location right in the corner of this platform that I've already pre-built. So that's the step 2 is determining the location of your factory, and I'm just going to jump out here and do the scan here, copper ore, and we should see we have one pretty close, 150 meters away. So this is an excellent location to build this. I am just going to switch to that one. So I have decided this location. This is accessible by my truck network, it is accessible by my train network, and it is close to copper. So now we know where to build it. Step number 3 is about calculating the size of the factory. We are starting this and we're going to do this both with a forward calculation and a backward calculation. This is the copper location that we have decided on. This is a normal location, so if we place a normal miner we get 60 per minute. If we place a Mark II miner we get 120. If we place a Mark III miner, whenever we get those, we get 240. Then we can scale that up and get the absolute maximum, and that means if the maximum we can get out of a normal deposit is 600 per minute. If we have a fully upgraded Mark III miner, so that is our absolute maximum. So what we do is we do a forward calculation from this resource and then calculate forwards and get a sense of how much that would give us in terms of all of the resources. So the first thing that we need is we're going to need to make it into copper wire. So if I get 600 in here, then I also get 600 out. Okay, that's cool. If I get 600 in here, then I get 1200 out. And then if I get 1200 in, then I get 600 out. So basically, if we can do a maximum of 600 cables per minute, and then we can see if I'm for each 14, I get 1. So the ratio is 14 to 1. That means we do 600 divided by 14. That means we could, with this location out here, with that one, if we have a fully scaled up, maximum overclocked Mark III miner on the copper, then we could get 42 point some ridiculous thing here per minute, crystal oscillators per minute. So that's the absolute maximum. Then I'm going to be sort of pacing myself and go, you know what, that's probably too much. So how about we just do it in a bit more modest size? Why not build it 42? Well, because there's also the part about what are we actually going to use the crystal oscillators for? Well, I'm going to use it for a few random things like radar towers and explorers, as I kind of sort of drop them off at random locations and forget about them. But actual production, continuous production, the only thing I'm actually going to use it for is the radio control units. So it's also worth going in here and taking a look at the alternate recipes that could be relevant. You can check that on the website. All of these will always require crystal oscillators. So for example, if I have 40, then I could 120 radio control units. That seems a bit absurd number, right? So even if I do half of it, 20 here, yeah, that means we can still make 60 radio control units per minute. That sounds like a very reasonable number to aim for. So I'm deciding that I want to make this towards 20 per minute. 20 crystal oscillators per minute, and since this one has 1 per minute by default, that means I need to make 20 machines. And then I now do the backwards calculation and say, now that I have decided to go for 20, I count backwards and how many I need. That means I need 20 times 14, because there's 14 cables for each assembler or for each oscillator. That means I need 280 cables per minute, and that is 9.33 of these constructors. And then I go here, that's 18.67 of these constructors, and this is 9.33 of the smelters, and it's going to be less than 300 ore coming in. So we can actually make do with a level 2 miner fully overclocked. Sounds good as well. So that is step 3. That is figuring out the size of your factory. Step 4 is basically a design on how your factory is going to be placed. In this case, I already have some part of it designed. This train stops takes pretty much the entire level here, but the truck stop doesn't take much space. So I'm going to build the primary thing in this level. We then have the big decision of doing things grouped, so that we say we do all of the smelting, then we do all of it into wires, and we do all of it into cables, and we do all of it into this. Or we do it a group where we have, for example, look at some ratios. For example, 1 of this plus 2 of this plus 1 of this plus 2 of this. I mean, look at the ratio. This is 20, this is 18. So we could actually say we built 20 of these, and then we scale the other thing. So I'll build 10 here, and I'll build 20, and I'll build 10. So it's going to be a ratio we could build in a module that goes 2, 1, 2, 1. And as I try to sort of set that up, it just becomes really unwieldy to do that. So what I actually decide is to do some grouping and make this into a module. Let's have a look at what that module could look like. Because I can build it pretty neat. There. And here. These two will be the wire and the wire. And then it goes into another one that can go There. This can then go into the cables, and I can then use this exact thing. Rotate it. And over here we'll have it as a splitter. Right here. And then get the smelter. Can then be built. And this is a very nice little design. 30 comes out here. This one consumes 15 each. All of these are going to be Mark 1 belts, and they're going to be really neat. As you can see, they will automatically go into nice 90-degree turns. And that little module here takes 30 iron or copper ore inbound and outputs 30 cables. So that's a nice little, and then we can just replicate this. But I don't want to build it at this level. I want to build it at a level, for example, 1 down. Oh, I'm probably going to fall down if I do that, but I'll try it. Don't fall down, don't fall down. Here, let's build another level because we have the copper here. So we can build another level here. We do all the copper and then just bring the cables up, and then we can build all of the 20 machines of the manufacturers here. That means we need to make room for 5 times 4. It all seems good. It seems completely viable. I now know exactly what the floor plans are going to be like. And then we come to the part which is going to be the one that takes the most time. And now we come to the next point, the next step of the agenda. That is step number 5. Build the damn thing. That's what we want to do. So let's take a look at that. That is the big thing. We found out we wanted a grouping of the copper. So we have copper ingots going into 2 copper wire production and grouping back here into a single cable connection. Multiply that by 10. So we have all 300 coming out here, 300 cables going up to the top layer, coming in and spreading out here. There we have groupings here of 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5. That's 20 crystal oscillator factories here. They're getting the cables on the middle layer. They are getting here. The reinforced iron plates are coming in by truck, hopefully. And lastly, we have up top, we come from the trains down here and then going in, and then that will be the quartz crystal. And at the very end, we have all of the outputs consolidating here, going up and into the trains at the very top. So that was a very, very quick skip over step 5, but the step 5 is definitely where you'll be spending the most time. But it's also like once you built one module, you decided it. It's just put on some relaxing live stream of Satisfactory in the background, for example, my live streams in the background, and then start to chucking away at building the same again and again and again, and wonder when we will get blueprints. Probably never. So that is step number 5 completed. Only 3 more steps left, so if you haven't already, then consider hitting the like button as we are progressing. And of course, if you're not subscribed, toggle that subscribe button as well. And level 6 is start it up and check for issues. So we have 3 things we need to start, and we will just start with the trucks because I have prepared things in advance, as any good TV chef or YouTuber should do. I have this one is set up, and I will just enable autopilot, and I'll go out. And it will start working. I have already recorded the path here, so it should be getting in here. This is set to unload, so let's see if it works. Oh, that's actually interesting. Does it say how much? 2 per minute. Maximum transfer 11 stacks per minute. Interesting. That's still a lot, right? 11, that's 1100 per minute. Yeah, that's probably more than I need. Okay, that was one. Then we're going to set up the other one that takes a long time. That is the train. This will be the crystal oscillator train. So we set the first train schedule of this base. Going in and heading Q. We are going to edit the timetable. It'll go from the quartz crystal. It'll go that one. I'll do it this way. There. So we go from the quartz crystal at this location. I will set it to freight wagon is fully loaded, or it has waited for 600 seconds. There has been some mentioning that the end command isn't really working, so when you reload, but I don't know if that's been fixed. But either way, we'll just say until it's loaded or it's waited for 10 minutes. Here, I will do until it has unloaded or waited for 10 minutes. Seems reasonable. Save changes. Fire up the available, and we are actually having the train online. While the train is going out and coming back in, we can set up the copper to get that started as well. And of course, what you're seeing here is that this factory is just platforms, that kind of thing, and nothing. It doesn't look like a factory, as it absolutely, of course, will. Here we go. Let's monitor this while we wait for the other ones to come back. This goes in. We have our manifold here. We are getting built. One more thing that is important, that is here, when you have a manifold with 10 deep, then there is a pretty good chance that it'll take forever to fill them up. But if we do this way, where you have a really fast build and then the side belts are slow Mark 1 belts, that means if this is coming in the beginning, while there was a buffer here, it comes in at 720, that means 60 goes in, 780, 720 goes on, 60 goes in, 660 goes on, 60 goes in, 600 moves on, you know, and then a lot of it will easily spread down the wire, down the line here. As you can see, all of them actually start up pretty quickly because I have lower tier on the side path. All of them start working, and we are starting to have a nice generation here of cables. Let's go up, and we will just monitor everything as it goes by so that we see that everything is working, because there's always going to be some kind of things that are not working. We're getting in. Oh, we are also seeing that the cables, ooh, look at that, we are getting the reinforced iron plates coming in, and that also gets spread out. Let's have a look. Nothing still is working because we still don't have the quartz crystals. So if we are being lucky, then we should have the train coming in. Please be lucky. Where is the train? Not here yet. Do we have a train moving? Yes, we do. We do have a train moving. Let's switch to our here, to the photo mode. We have the train coming in. Oh, look at that. You can even see like small trucks going in the background. Yeah, don't mind the graphics of the background. That's when we zoom in a lot. But this is really nice. Oh, by the way, the reason why I can see it so far is because I always disable fog. Because, well, my PC can handle it, and it looks better when you can actually see the distance of your factory. Let's see with this one. The fact that it has something, these boxes are there, that means that something has been loaded onto the train, and we can see it coming in. And we want to see, it should be unloading here into these. And that's going to be glorious to see. Let's have a look at this. Maybe that is a good opportunity for us to do something like this. Yeah, maybe. It'll look nice. There's just something about the trains in this game. This looks so nice, especially this part here. And grabs all the containers. It's interesting what happens to the container, because the container gets put into this box and then the train moves out. And then another container goes in. So at some point, these containers are going to be accumulating inside the station, right? See, they just get put in here. They're not going to be taken out. Yep. And it goes in and closes off. And train goes, and it, yep, there we go, and moves on. And we have as well all of that. That goes down this line. Let's move downstairs and see if we have a production coming online now. And going down. It feels weird when having the HUD up. There we go. It is working. And it's getting spread out to both sides. And I'll get my overlays back. This is only slowly going in. Again, the same principle is we get this in with 780 per minute. And then get spread out here. And each of them are not really going to be used very much. 18 per minute. So 18 times... times 8, that's 360, so that is not really a big deal. It's not going to be constrained. One of the steps as well is when, maybe I didn't quite say that, at step 4, when you're determining the modules and the groupings, also pay attention to belt throughput. There might be some things that go over the 780 or whatever belt capacity you have at that moment. At that point, it's a good idea to also just consider if you need 2 parallel belts, or same with pipes as well. We're getting things in. These don't seem to flow as fast as they probably should, but I know that it's working. It'll get here. So there we have it. We have the whole factory is working. Everything is huffing and puffing. Well, not almost all of it. And we should, in a minute's time, see the very first of the outputs. So what are we going to do while this one is working? We still have 2 more steps left, and that is moving on to the next step. Step number 7. Turning the platforms into an actual factory. So here we have put some frames around it. We put nice here. This is good, and we can see it looks more like a factory now, especially from the distance. And it's just those touches here that make it look like a factory and not just some floaty platforms. I like that. What I have there is I'm going to use this grid here as my entrance. I don't know. You might want me to put wall lights in the top, but I really don't like the lights. I think that they gave too harsh of a light, too cone-shaped lights, and not the. I really need a diffuse light over this factory, and the wall light doesn't. This ceiling light just doesn't seem to do that. It's just really harsh and a really small cone. So that is step number 7, making it look like a factory so it fits in. Make sure that it's standing on something, not floating in midair. That is good, and the only thing that is remaining is, of course, the last step, step number 7. 8. Step number 8. And here we are at the final step, step number 8, the aesthetics and finishing touches. As you can see here, this is our crystal oscillator factory, 20 crystal oscillators per minute. This factory is sponsored by Everlist and Danny V. Those are the generous people over on Twitch who won the hype train and decided the color scheme for this factory. And I absolutely love it. Not the colors I would have chosen, but hey, this looks pretty cool. Floating around the factory, and it's just an absolute marvel to behold. I'm really happy about it, and we have a train coming out here that is going to be full of crystal oscillators that we can then use for radio control units, as will be our next build. You can see I'm also putting some frames, so it's just to break up the monotony on the surface. Let's have a look at how this is working. We have the crystal oscillator, the quartz coming back and forth, and then the crystal oscillators are going in here, getting filled up nice and easily. This is actually just one more stack, and then we have enough for a full wagon load. I will have this train as being a mixed train. It'll be 4 wagons, 1 with locomotive, 4 wagons. The first wagon will be oscillators, then it'll be radio controllers, then it'll be something else, maybe heat sinks, and maybe something else. We don't know. But we'll see, and if you want to see it, you know it. I am streaming this on Twitch, Tuesday, Thursdays, and Sundays at 8 p.m. Central European Time. So come on by, drop by, and be part of the design, and just hang out and have a good time while we build this awesome factory. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, you know where the like button is. And of course, leave comments below if you have something more you'd like me to do, or some mistakes or whatever, anything you like. And I will take a look at it. I may not reply to all of them, but I will certainly read all of them. So thank you for leaving the comments as well. And of course, thank you for subscribing if you find this useful and want to see more in the future. Until next time, take care. And as always, stay effective.